Success is not something you chase. Success is something you become. And when you become it, when you breathe it, think it, radiate it, it doesn't run from you. It comes to you. That's the lie the world sold you. Illusion. That you need to hustle for approval, beg for opportunities, compete for scraps. They told you to follow trends, mimic the successful, blend in with the crowd. But the truth, success doesn't belong to the crowd. It belongs to those who refuse to be average. Think of the greatest creators, leaders, innovators in history. Thomas Edison didn't wait for success. He became the man worthy of the invention that changed the world. Henry Ford didn't ask permission to think differently. He built a vision so bold the world had to catch up. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Lincoln failed and failed and failed until he didn't. They all had one thing in common. They became something greater than their circumstances. So let me ask you, are you becoming someone success can't ignore? Or are you still trying to find success without first earning the identity of a person who attracts it? You don't get what you want in life. You get who you are. And if you're still thinking like a version of yourself that tolerates excuses, procrastination, distraction, self-pity, then that's the version of you that life will keep rewarding, not with success, but with survival. Because the mind is a magnet. It pulls in what it constantly believes, expects, and accepts. You attract what you're prepared to handle. And if success hasn't come yet, maybe the truth is this. You haven't built yourself into the person capable of holding it. You want more income? Grow your discipline. You want stronger connections? Build your integrity. You want freedom? Master your mind. Success isn't magic. It's alignment. A mirror. It reflects you back at yourself. That's why people can make millions and lose it all. That's why people get in shape and then slip. That's why people fall in love, then sabotage the relationship. Because they change their circumstance, but not their identity. So if you're serious about changing your life, you must build the foundation inside first. You must become the person who doesn't just get success, but holds it, sustains it, expands it, and that begins with mindset. Most people wake up and live the same day 10,000 times. Not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because their thinking is stuck in a loop. Repetition of fear, a repetition of doubt, repetition of hesitation. And what you think becomes what you feel. What you feel becomes how you act. And how you act creates the results you see. So if your results aren't changing, don't look at your circumstances. Look at your thinking. Every day you wake up, your mind offers you two doors. One marked default, the other marked design. Most people walk through default without question. They repeat yesterday's stories, yesterday's limitations, yesterday's version of themselves. But the few, the rare, walk through design. They rewire their beliefs. They choose new thoughts. They install new standards because they understand this law. You do not rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. And your standards are born in your mindset. Success doesn't come from wishing. It comes from aligning your identity with your destiny. You want clarity? Then stop negotiating with chaos. Eliminate what confuses you. Stop feeding your focus to a world that profits from your distraction. Every scroll, every comparison, every excuse. It's all renting space in the mind that could be building your vision. Clarity is earned. It's forged in solitude, in the hours when no one's watching and no one's applauding. When you sit with your thoughts, stare down your fears, and ask the hardest question of all, What am I really here to do? Not what's safe, not what's expected, not what makes others comfortable, but what sets you on fire. Success is allergic to comfort. It shows up when you're willing to walk into the unknown, carrying only vision and belief. No map, no guarantees, just a burning reason why you're doing it. Purpose. That's what most people are missing. They're chasing money without mission, chasing approval without principle, and wondering why they feel empty even when they win. But when you align your life with purpose, when every action becomes a vote for the future you believe in, you become dangerous, unstoppable, because your fuel comes from something inside you that the world can't touch. Purpose makes you resilient. It makes pain a teacher instead of a threat. It makes failure a chapter instead of a verdict. It makes sacrifice feel sacred. And the best part, you don't find purpose. You decide it. You choose it. You declare it every morning when your feet hit the ground and you say, "This is who I am. This is what I do, and this is why I will not stop." You want to attract success? Then start becoming unavailable for anything less. Unavailable for excuses. Unavailable for average. Unavailable for people who drain your vision instead of feeding it. Unavailable for that voice in your head that says, "Not yet, maybe later, you're not ready." You silence that voice with action. Not more books, not more plans, not more waiting. Action. Because nothing changes until you move. Not perfectly, not confidently, but decisively. You don't need motivation, you need momentum. And momentum is built in moments when you do the thing you said you would, even when it's inconvenient. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in motion. It's you declaring with every small act, "I am worth showing up for," not just when you feel like it, not just when the mood is right, but especially when it isn't. Because here's what the greats knew: Hill, Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller. You don't get discipline after you're successful. You build it before, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when it's cold, dark, quiet, and boring. Discipline is forged in those ordinary, invisible moments, when the world would have understood if you quit. But you didn't. It's the early alarm. It's the second workout. It's the honest conversation with yourself when you're tempted to slip. Discipline is the root system of every towering oak. You don't see it, but it's what holds everything up. So the question is this: are you building roots or just decorating your leaves? Because success built on shallow ground falls when the weather changes. But when you've built yourself from the inside out, through the pain, the process, the quiet obedience to a higher standard, you don't just survive the storm, you are the storm. And action, real, focused action, is the bridge between the man you are and the future you've only glimpsed in your dreams. Most people don't fail from lack of ambition. They fail from inconsistent execution. They start strong, then wait. Wait for clarity. Wait for permission. Wait for conditions to be perfect. But listen closely. Clarity comes from movement. Confidence comes from doing what you fear. And momentum is not built in the thinking, it's built in the doing. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. You don't need all the answers. Just act with conviction, with courage, and with the willingness to adjust. Remember, Edison didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. It took over 10,000 failed experiments. But every failure was action. Every failure brought him closer. Every failure sharpened the man into someone worthy of holding the invention. And that's what you're doing right now. Sharpening. Not proving, not performing, not rushing, sharpening your focus, your grit, your identity. Because your identity is the core of it all. You will always return to the level of the person you believe you are. That's why success is never about doing more. It's about becoming more. Ask anyone who transformed their life. They didn't just change their habits. They changed how they saw themselves. From broke to builder. From victim to visionary. From hesitant to relentless. You want to become someone who attracts success? Then burn the old version of yourself. The one who needed permission. The one who played small to stay light. The one who chased comfort while dreaming of greatness. Burn it all, and in the ashes rebuild. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Speak the identity before it feels true. Move like the person you're becoming. Even when it feels awkward, even when you're scared. Because repetition is what turns delusion into belief. And belief into reality. This is not pretending. This is programming. And every single day, you're either reinforcing who you were or designing who you will become. You are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to do next. Now listen, none of this is easy. Growth never is. But that's what makes it sacred. That's what separates the masses from the masters. The average from the extraordinary. Anyone can set goals. Anyone can start a business, write a book, launch a channel. But only the few, the chosen, build themselves into the kind of people who finish what? They start. That's what success is attracted to. Finishers, doers, people of resolve, people who do the right thing, not the easy thing. The quiet ones who grind while others gossip. The disciplined ones who rise while others hit snooze. The focused ones who work on themselves while others work on distractions. These are the people success finds because they're not chasing it. They're becoming it. Your journey will be tested. You will be misunderstood. There will be days when you question everything, when you doubt your value, your vision, your voice. But listen to me. Those are not signs to quit. You're signs you're on the right path, because no one questions their future when they're still stuck in the past. The fact that you feel pulled forward means there's something greater waiting on the other side of your comfort. So keep moving, keep showing up, keep carving yourself into the kind of person who attracts success by the force of who you. Not by luck, not by chance, but by design. You are not here to take what life gives you. You are here to claim what you were born for. In that process, it starts now. The path to success isn't a straight line. It bends, it breaks, it tests, it turns. And those who survive, those who rise, are not the strongest. They're the most adaptable. Adaptability isn't about surrender. It's about evolution. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you will respond, not react. You will adjust, not abandon. You will pivot, but never retreat. Think about it. The greatest breakthroughs in history came not from rigid plans, but from flexible minds. Walt Disney was fired for lack of imagination. He went bankrupt twice, but he kept adapting, he kept evolving, until the world had to take notice. Abraham Lincoln lost 8 elections before he won the one that mattered. Do you think he stayed the same man through every loss? No, he became the man worthy of history by growing through every defeat. Because adversity doesn't destroy you. It introduces you to the parts of yourself you forgot were there. Your grit, your power, your ability to bend without breaking. You don't find out who you are when things go well. You find out in the fire. in the silence, in the storm. So let me ask you, how do you respond when life doesn't follow the script? Do you collapse when things go wrong? Or do you rise because of it? True success doesn't come to those who never fall. It comes to those who refuse to stay down, because resilience is the real currency of the successful. The ability to absorb the hit and keep walking, to be underestimated, overlooked, underfunded, and still move like a giant. Not because the road is easy, but because you've already decided that you won't stop. That's what separates the temporary from the timeless. The world will give up on you. People will flake. Plans will fail. Money will disappear. Certainty will vanish. But the real question is, will you give up on yourself? If the answer is no, not today, not ever, then congratulations. You are already becoming someone success is drawn to. Because success wants someone it can trust. Not someone who shows up only when things are good, but someone who shows up regardless. That's the person who builds empires. That's the person who changes generations. That's the person who becomes legendary. And here's what they never told you in school, in the media, or even in motivational books. It's not the result that changes your life. It's the lessons you extract from the climb. You grow more from failure than you ever will from success. Because success may reward you, but failure builds you. Every setback is a seminar. Every rejection is a redirection. Every disappointment is an invitation to rise stronger, smarter, sharper. And you know why most people stay stuck? Because they treat adversity as a wall. But the high performers, the true builders of legacy, they treat it as a mirror that shows them where they need to grow, refine, and level up. If you're still angry about what happened, still bitter about who left, still ashamed about what you lost, then success is still waiting on you to integrate the lesson. Because unprocessed pain becomes procrastination. And procrastination is the graveyard of potential. But once you extract the gold from the pain, once you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? You become untouchable, because life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. The road doesn't smooth out. You grow the legs to walk it anyway. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes your new normal. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You became the person who no longer runs from discomfort, but leans into it. You became the person who doesn't need to be inspired, because you are driven. You became the person who wakes up with clarity, lives with intensity, and leads with intention. That's what success responds to. Not noise, not clout, not surface-level ambition, but depth, substance, identity. The deeper your roots, the taller you rise. The stronger your principles, the louder your impact. The clearer your why, the greater your how. So when people ask, how do I attract success? How do I get the life I want? How do I stand out in a crowded world? The answer isn't in strategy. Here, it's not in hacks or shortcuts. The answer is in you, in who you're willing to become, in what you're willing to sacrifice, in how deeply you're willing to change. Not change what you do, change who you are, at the level of your beliefs, your standards, your habits, your identity, because here's the ultimate truth. Success is not something you pursue. Success is someone you become. The greatest force in the universe is a clear vision, not a hope, not a wish. A vision etched into your soul so deeply that nothing can shake it loose. Vision isn't about what you want. It's about who you must become to have it. It's not passive. It's not vague. It's alive. It's what pulls you forward when motivation is gone. It's what speaks louder than doubt, fear, fatigue, or failure. Do you think Martin Luther King Jr. fought through hate, prison, and death threats because he was motivated? He had a vision, a dream so vivid, so crystallized in his heart that it made the pain worth it. That's what your vision must become. So real in your mind that the world has no choice but to catch up to what you've already seen. And if you can't see it clearly, you haven't spent enough time with it. Vision is sculpted in silence. It's born in those early hours when the world is asleep and your mind can finally listen. It's shaped by writing, visualizing, imagining, by asking yourself every single day, if I were the person who already had what I want, what would I believe? How would I think? What would I do today? That's how vision becomes real. That's how you align your mind with your future. You don't wait for proof. You become the proof. You don't wait to feel ready. You act until the world reflects what you've already decided. And here's the paradox. The fastest way to attract more is to be deeply grateful for less. Gratitude isn't weakness. It's magnetic. Because when you appreciate what you have, you elevate your energy, your frequency, and you tell the universe, I am already becoming the person who deserves more. Ungrateful people repel success. They think the world owes them something. They focus on lack, complain about timing, and sabotage blessings because they weren't packaged the way they expected. But the person who attracts success, they see opportunity in everything. They find lessons in pain, strength in struggle, and beauty in simplicity. Gratitude is the glue between who you are and who you're becoming. It keeps you anchored during the climb. It reminds you that even in the chaos, you are still rising. So say thank you for the detours. Thank you for the losses. Thank you for the doors that closed. Because they made you dangerous. They made you hungry. They made you ready. And never stop learning. Because the person who thinks they've arrived is already slipping backwards. Life is a mirror and a classroom. It reflects your mindset and teaches you at every turn. But only the humble notice the lesson. Most people want to look successful. Few are willing to become students again. But every master was once a beginner. Every billionaire was once broke in their beliefs. Every champion once struggled with insecurity. The difference? They stayed curious. They invested in their mind. They read, listened, studied, not because they were broken, but because they knew they were becoming. When you stop learning, you stop evolving. When you stop evolving, you stop attracting. Because success flows to the person who is always expanding. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So be relentless in your education. Learn from books. Learn from people. Learn from failure. And most of all, learn from yourself. Your past is not your punishment. It is your curriculum. Study it. Use it. Transcend it. And now we arrive at the truth of it all. You will not become successful by luck. You will not become powerful by imitation. You will not build a legacy by following the crowd. You must step forward and claim your identity. You must draw a line and say, I will no longer betray the future I was built for. By living like the person I used to be, no more shrinking, no more doubting, no more negotiating with mediocrity. This is your call, your awakening, your invitation to rise. Right here, right now, because success is not hiding. It is watching, and it's asking you one question. Are you the person who deserves me? Not just when it's easy, but when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's inconvenient, when no one claps, when no one believes it, when no one understands. Are you still becoming, still showing up, still driven by vision and not validation? Then keep going, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more clarity. It doesn't need more trends. It needs more truth. It doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people who are real and raw and ready to rise. People like you. So become the person who attracts success. Not just for the money, not just for the title, but for the person you had to become along the way. Because that's the real reward. The man or woman you sculpted in the fire, the warrior you forged in the silence, the legend you became by refusing to give up on yourself. That person is unstoppable. That person is unforgettable. That person is already walking in their destiny. Now go prove it.